Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Patience once again, and I decided to come at you guys with a little update. In this one, I just wanted to kind of share why I will not be using same sex relationships in my work, and why I have also chosen not to go through with this. For anyone that's been following my work prior, you would see that I was quite intrigued with the idea because I figured it would be pretty um, nice to kind of have to accept all things into my work, to show that I'm not biased in any way, to show that I'm not partial, to show that I was considering many as to everyone when it came to considering my work and putting it out there for entertainment, for not just youths but the general public as well. But as of late, I have found that I have changed that notion. Um, and I will say, please watch this video at your own discretion, meaning that you can leave at any time. You don't have to watch this if you felt offended by it in any way. But this is just my personal opinion, as it were, and why I'm choosing to share it with you guys. So later on down the road, you don't have to feel away or kind of left out in any way, because you understand that I have my own um, outlook on the situation, as to taking like just a portion of individuals into consideration. So I'm going to relieve myself from the screen, even though I just uploaded myself into a bigger size. Sorry about that, but I'm going to take myself off the screen so I can take up the diagrams and show you not necessarily what I have learnt, but what I have learnt, and why I myself, as well as taking other people into consideration, should take what we do with ourselves as a human being or as human beings into take it. I guess you could say not necessarily seriously, but take it into serious consideration as to what our actions may or may not be. Obviously, we are human, and we do have desires of the flesh, as to our own likeliness or likingness. But it is something that I felt had to be addressed nonetheless. So just bear with me, guys. I will just fix myself up a little bit here, and then I will pull up my diagrams, so we can see if we're not all on the same page, why I have chosen to take a stand on the page on which I am taking a stand on. So thank you very much. Um, so what I'll do is I'll just lower myself down here. In fact, I ain't even gonna do that. I'm gonna actually vanish for a while, guys, and I will get my work up. So here we are. So I'm gonna go through with you guys, so you can see exactly what I have written down here and why I've chosen to share it with y'all. So in this, I've got the diagram of the penis, which obviously is a very delicate organ upon the male physique form. And I'm just going to go through it and read the dialogue that I have here on the side. So here I have written, um, the reason I have chosen not to include same-sex relationships or sexual activity into my work are for specific reasons as shown. Please watch this video at your own discretion. That as that is as much as I will ask from you. The penis is a reproductive organ that was made specifically for the use of sexual activity in order to recreate. The purpose of recreation is also a complement from a prosperous relationship. So I'll just clear that bit up. The purpose of recreation is also a complement from a prosperous relationship. The penis is like a sacred temple upon a man in which he should respect and cherish. But alongside this comes temptations of the will or conscience, which can deter a person's way of thinking so as to use this tool in a fashion that can cause both physical and mental harm to an individual in this corrupted state. I will introduce you into why I have personally chosen not to allow these arts or methods of sexuality into my work, and why I feel this way personally and deep enough to want to share. So that's the reason why I have a diagram of a penis, in case you guys are wondering. And it's not a personal diagram. It was something that I was able to draw from a diagram, and colors alike. Um, I'll move on to the next phase, guys. So in the next phase, I've got a diagram of the actual rectum. You can see the spinal cord here, and you can see muscles connected to the rectum, and I've got a little bit of the skin there. So I wanted to get a little bit artistic with it, so that's why it's a bit, you know. But anyway, but I kept it a little bit toon shady, so that's my style. But I'll continue, guys. It says, in many cases, we are all aware that the anus is a very unclean region upon and within the human body. As the diagram shows, the rectum is a huge location that can store stools of poo for long periods of time. Not only this, but it clearly shows that cleaning this section or region of ourselves is close to impossible, and if possible will take extensive dedication and time to manage. What I meant at this point was being able to clean it as deep as it goes. If you look at the diagram here, you can see that the anus, the rectum, actually goes really high up into the back, and I don't even think your hand can curve around your bum cheeks to get that high. So trying to clean yourself so intensively, or it is, I believe, impossible, guys, unless you use certain methods, of course. So I'll move on to the next paragraph. I have not taken extreme time to pull out points of interest beyond the common basic means I am simply trying to address. My reason for this upload is to show that I take my consumers and viewers into consideration. We do not all share the same principles, but we do all know the differences between normal and not normal, and the many problems same-sex relationships can cause for innocent individuals who want to live as normally as anybody else. Unfortunately, there is a cost to this choice, of as many of us are already aware. So I really want to bring that part out, that there are a lot of us that are aware of the consequences of same-sex relationships. So here, guys, you can see I have a basic diagram of the human body. Take skin complexion out of consideration. It was never either which way to go. I just decided to go with a same skin complexion as my own. Obviously, because that's the first skin type that came into my mind. And I have a diagram of the large intestine, and I have a diagram of the small intestine wrapped within or encased within the large intestine, or should we say the rectum and the anus, which also involves, I should say, the rectum and the anus. So as you can see, the rectum comes up pretty darn high within the human form, and the anus is down here right at the tip, which a human being using normal standard methods alone can have quite a bit of trouble trying to clean on themselves. And as to anyone who's wondering why am I talking about this, it will all be cleared up near the end, as to why I'm going into this and talking about same-sex relationships, etc., etc. Like I said, if you feel offended in any way or you find it hard to understand anything that I'm trying to explain, don't hesitate to leave the channel when and if needed or possible, um, so as to not be offended. So as you can see, that's why I have this diagram here. We do not have the text on the screen, and I will be surprised if you are able to see the text I'm about to pull up. And if you are, then you're fortunate. If not, then you can just listen in to um, as I read through. So from this part, it reads as follows. Again, the anus is depicted in this picture as being part of an entire system that flows deep into our inner core. The point here is how unclean our bodies naturally are and how important it is for us to keep clean. Every day we likely use our bottoms to deposit waste so as to expel it from our systems. Ultimately, we end up cleaning our bodies to prevent it from gaining infections or even simply to refrain from unwanted odors. Why do we refrain from odors? The reason is because we respect ourselves and those around us. It shows we deem ourselves respectful and allows us to more easily be welcomed into society, especially when applying for prestigious jobs or even when trying our luck at a relationship. The rare end is common. The rare end in common day has been depicted as a very attractive feature, and is used as an attractive feature. And modern day porn and youth alike are all fascinated with the fatty pieces of a woman, including the bottom region. Sorry, if you, I'll try clear that up a little bit. The rear end in common day has been depicted as a very attractive feature, and modern day porn and youth alike are fascinated with the fatty pieces of a woman, including the bottom region. We are affected by the common calling of the sexual industry, as it teaches upon humanity how to keep in the loop if you desire sexual activity. This goes beyond just gaydom, though I consider gaydom to be any sort of sexual activity that includes the bottom or anus region sexually, regardless of sexual nature or intent, that it may be male on male, female on female, or the standard normal male and female. So in that, what I'm trying to explain, quite simply, I guess, is the world today, especially if you're young, you can quite clearly agree to the fact that the world holds a certain standard, and the booty, as it would be called via slang in modern day language, or the bottom, or the rear end, is in nowadays is obviously depicted as a very attractive feature upon humans, not necessarily just women, but I'll just taking the female into consideration and using it as the main focus of attention here. The more fatty pieces that a female may have is the more attractive she may be, and that also includes the bottom region. So that's that bit, just to clear it up, because I was stuttering a little bit. But anyway, I will talk a little bit more, spend a little bit more time on each phase as I go through. All of these diagrams are during my dance off, guys. Some of them I did use references, but as you know, I do like to use my own artistic side, because I tend to find that it's a bit more fun that way. But as I've never really drawn anatomy to such an extent before, I did use and stick quite close to my references. So this is damn near an exact replica of the reference that I used. And I've only taken out little bits and bobs to use as highlight points to bring out within this upload. As well, it was also very educational for me, so it was fascinating, not just learning how to draw the human form properly and damn near perfectly, but also understanding aspects of the human body and how delicate we actually are, and how seriously we're supposed to kind of manage ourselves, and understanding that our choices do go beyond that of just ourselves, but also other people, how it affects other people around us. So the human body, if we look at it, we can see it was constructed in a very fine and fashionable manner. A lot of care and dedication went into it, and so that kind of clearly tells us that we do have a huge responsibility upon our shoulders as to how we look after ourselves. Again, everything that I say will be cleared up near the end. Um, so now this is this diagram. If I go back to the previous diagram, guys. Okay, so I just had those two here. So here, sorry if my pronunciation on some of these words are slightly off. I'm not a doctor or a medic of any sort. So this is like kind of literally the first timer for me. So we have the external urethral opening. We also have the penis gland. We have the external anal uh, sphinx, sphincter muscle, and the tip of the cox, I will say, um, or coccyx, and we also have the anus. Like I said, might have trouble reading some of these words. I didn't really investigate as to how to pronunciate these words properly. But for those of you out there that know how to say the words correctly, well, you can correct me if you like. But anyway, I'm sure we get the point. So here, the reason why I want to bring out some of these aspects were for a specific reason. Sorry. I'll start with the lower end. So it was very kind of interesting to see how the body is constructed here. And we can see how the anus is situated. It's very close to the penis. So looking at it from a scientific kind of accurate, where the accuracy is quite spot on. It's quite interesting to see how our body is actually quite constructed. I was thinking to myself how the anus region here, at least how it's depicted in this diagram, has a very interesting feature. Um, but I'll save that for another time, guys. Um, anyway, but we can see that where it is situated does make it quite tricky for us to clean our darn selves. Obviously, we know exactly how it's situated if we were to take it into a 3D type perspective, but regardless, it is a tricky region to try and clean after we have used it, depending on how we choose to clean ourselves and when we choose to clean ourselves, guys. And at the top here, we can see the penis gland. The reason why I took this bit into consideration is because we can see that the penis has a sealing from the outside wall as to the inside of it, meaning that it's keeping itself safe, concealed. It does not allow germs to approach it easily. It probably has its functions of dealing with all that, guys. But that was something to take into consideration. It has like a helmet, and the external urethral opening is obviously when the male would choose to go to urinate. That's where the urination will come out from, but that's also where the sperm would also ejaculate out of. Um, so as you can see, looking at it, it is quite a sensitive muscle. And you can just imagine what the inside is like. For anyone that's familiar with the male form, the penis can be very floppy, indicating that it does not really have any bones within it. So it's just muscles and organs, as it were, guys. Vessels, I guess you would call it, arteries, and probably even veins. And like I said, I'm not a medic or anything of that sort, so you won't find the specifics or in-depth information from me, guys. If you want that, you will have to get yourself a medical book for sure. But anyway, not to step away from the point, what I'm trying to inform here is why I have not chosen to play same-sex relationships or any same-sex sexual activity within my work, and this is partially some of the reasons why. So I will go pull up my notes now that I may share with you. Um, so I'll read this one. You'll have to bear with me, guys, because the way I have my screen situated, it makes it a bit tricky to read um, what I have written down, but I've got it. So I'll go through it. It says, the penis is ultimately the common tool which would be used in anal sex. I now aim to add why I chose not to apply this sort of sexual activity into my work. The penis, unlike the anus, is a clean organ which is to be kept clean and held safe from any germicidal environment. For a relationship, we may maturely choose an option and understand there will be a sacrifice of love that will always affect how a couple of same sex will approach that relationship. Unfortunately, as for any relationship, there is more to a relationship than just simply saying you have a liking for someone or a desire. You have to consider children. As an artist, I hold a responsibility of what kind of content I may push out to the public and what kinds of information I may withhold. I have gay friends that did not want me to upload both that did not want me to upload this video, and both straight and gay alike, saying I should not air this upload. But they were speaking strictly from their own perspective as a gay individual or as parents. As an artist who plans to make an entertainment, as an artist who plans to make entertainment for the world as a goal, I have had to reason that introducing people's children into gaydom within my own graphic or visual nature of work is not my responsibility, nor would I myself be happy with the fact of knowing someone choosing a gay relationship after watching my work and then later in life gaining HIV or AIDS, which are chronic and unpleasant diseases which too can be caught via unclean sexual relations. Not to mention the effect upon their life as a blow, when they truly come to comprehend they cannot have children together normally, as most other relationship pairs can. Obviously, unless they consider adoption or any relevance. The media is a powerful tool that can manipulate and even corrupt minds from young and old alike. So what I'm trying to share with you here, guys, is simply the fact that being an artist or someone that generates, I guess you could say, entertainment within the media industry, or someone that hopes to do so within the near term future or far term, I've had to consider my actions. I would also like to share that on my DeviantArt, I used to have very graphic pictures that were very unpleasant for any child to see. In honesty, it would be unpleasant for anyone to see. I took those pictures down, and I had a reason for taking those pictures down. I did not want my baby brother, to see any of my pictures in case it influenced him. So one that I had to take a moral checkup of myself, and I took a kind of reality check, and I said to myself, but if I wouldn't take, if I would take those pictures down as a responsible crisis check to keep from my baby brother's eyes, why wouldn't I do the same for my neighbor? And so that's what led me onto this path, considering not just myself or my viewers, but anyone that may come across my work, because there are going to be a lot of innocent minds and there are going to be a lot of sophisticated minds. There's going to be people that know what they want from life, and there's going to be people that don't know what they want from life. There's going to be people that get bullied, and there's going to be people that don't get bullied. And they might look at my art, or they might look at my animations, or they might look at my work and say, wow, your work is quite amazing. And as like in any kind of media industry, how media can influence people, they might look at my work and feel like they may try to adopt certain things. Um, and um, one of these adoptions could be the adoption of gay relationships as well. There are other aspects of my work that I'd like to probably bring out a bit later, that they too might adopt. And these are things that I have to truly consider when saying that I would love to publish work for the world, and taking into consideration not just vulnerable minds but people with sophisticated minds, guys. So anyway, I'll move on to the next diagram, which is the last diagram. After I bring this diagram out, I'll probably spend a little bit more time with you guys just to explain a little bit more so as to clear myself up. So anyway, here I have a diagram of the testes, which is interesting because the testes is not necessarily connected to the penis, as it were, as such, though obviously it does connect in order to have a pass through. Then you got the scrotum, which would be known as the testicle bag or the ball bag, as many kids would identify as when roaming together in school. And then we got the penis glands again, which were the helmet of the penis, or like the cap shape. We have the erectile material, which I thought was interesting. I applied it and added it to the diagram as a highlight. And then we have the urethra opening again, which is here. We have a better diagram of it, which is something that I kind of want to bring out a little bit more. And then we have the pubic bone. I brought that bit out because again it just looked interesting, guys. And this big, somewhat circular oval shape thing above the pubic bone, not beside it, above it. I say spherical, kind of oval. It's not really, but similar to that would be the bladder. So as you can see, we're all created this way. I use the word created because none of us are constructed differently from each other. Our heart's not where our bladder is, and our bladder's not where our heart is. All of us are constructed exactly the same, and we all have genes, and all our genes are of the same kind of formal structure as they create us all alike. So what I will do is bring up my diagram knowledge information now, so as to read this, and so we're all on the same page as to why I want to apply this stuff into my work, and hopefully you guys don't feel undermined in any way or insulted, because truly that is not my purpose. Like I said, I have gay friends, and I've had gay friends, and it's not just gay people that can take this into consideration, because in my previous text, anal sex, as I consider, of any sort, is gaydom. Whether it be two men having anal sex, or two women having anal sex, or whether it be a man and a woman having anal sex, as far as I'm concerned, it's all gay. So I will move on to this one. So in this I've written the, the penis is a very delicate organ and is composed of only so few. Sorry, give me a second. Yeah, the penis is composed. The penis is a very delicate organ and is composed of only so few specialties to keep it comprised as a fully working and functional and yet miraculous organ. We know we are constructed, and that we all and that all living things are comprised or composed of organs of relevance, all with a basic relation suggesting the the root of all life, that it be membranes, cellular acknowledgement, or the most familiar, such as heart, lungs, and brains, usually with veins and arteries. The penis has the urethra entrance, which usually seals the inside of its functions from the outside world, like a closed pair of lips. Once opened, the penis takes on a very delicate form, which usually can be interpreted as very hard to clean. Once that region is exposed to dirt or poo from the rectum, an individual can undergo lots of mental distresses if very observant. Over time, such an individual will have to take regular trips to the local doctors for checkups and maybe even medication. This can all be very distressful. And then to consider non child relationships unless adoption are a means of relevance. Ultimately, that cycle starts again as a child is more likely to adopt the actions of their parents under such circumstances. Emotionally and physically, an individual can be disturbed, and I have chosen not to take part in that action so as to potentially aim someone's life, yet alone a multitude of people's lives down a road that can lead to pain, worse of which you would find in a normal straight relationship. If two couples in a straight relationship remain chaste from all else and live loyalty together, the chances of germicidal incidences are kept to a minimal, or kept to a bare minimal in all truths. So that this is ultimately the reason why I chose not to implement same-sex relationships into my work, guys. It's not just something that I've considered to be unclean, but it's also something that I tend to find can lead people down many kind of mental distresses, not just mentally, obviously, but also physically. And if someone has the option of being straight, then I would more wish that person well along that road of being straight rather than the road of being gay, because I believe the gay life can be a hell of a lot more troublesome, obviously. And so, again, that's why I've chosen not to put gaydom into my work, taking the whole understanding of what I consider to be gay into consideration here, guys. um, so I brought out about as much points as I can bring out, and I've shared with you. There is two other points that I'd like to bring out just to really kind of clear up my point a little bit, which is we all have a responsibility, not just with relationships, but upon ourselves, guys. And some of these, when I was bringing out the point that I'm not just talking about vulnerable minds, but also sophisticated ones, is you will see people smoking, people that's had a stressful day, and that's just a day. A day can influence how we may manage ourselves. We may smoke in a day. We may even become a little bit more violent in a day. We may take up any course of action that can deter who we are naturally, so as to fixate ourselves into a certain way or certain path of living. That it be fashionable, it might be choice of clothes that we wear, it could be quite mental, or whatever it could be, even physical, which comes under medical. We all have a responsibility what we choose to do with ourselves, but responsibility doesn't just cover our darn selves, guys. It also covers the ones around us. What kind of influence do I kind of hope to leave behind for others behind me, for others with me, and for others ahead of me? Now, obviously, we're all sinners, and I guess we'd be recognized as gross sinners, and we do all commonly make mistakes. Upon that, we all live in a sinful world, and God is not here with us in this sinful world. And a lot of us might choose to we may choose certain actions that other people will not choose. Like, for instance, some people might say the government was right for allowing gay relationships to get married. Some people might say they disagree with the fact that governments allowed two gay people to get married. But ultimately, whether it's right or wrong, almost is irrelevant because we all live in a sinful world. What do I mean by a sinful world? We all make choices that will be either good, and we all make choices that will be either bad. None of us are perfect. Um, and the point behind living in a world that is neither good nor bad is the fact to say that I'm pretty sure that God would understand that we all have temptations of the flesh, or that we all have temptations as a whole. And I doubt He would like to see us living in pain or agony. So, taking that into consideration, I'm sure God would rather see us happy than He would rather see us sad. Taking that into consideration, we will live in a bad world. Um, so it's not necessarily saying what one does is okay, but if one can refrain from doing something that you know will be harmful to oneself, then well, all best wishes to you. But if you find that you do find a fight or struggle to be that hard, then should you fall into that road, then again, the best of wishes, but know that it is going to, chances are it will be a harder road than it maybe would be on another. Obviously, you will get people that will make the argument, yeah, but just because doesn't mean that a straight relationship is going to be any easier. The chances of a straighter relationship being easier than a gay relationship is likely to be more than, simply because you will be able to have children naturally. Your relationship will be a bit more functional and easier to somewhat depend upon, because you won't have to be so concerned about how you have sexual relations with your partner. You won't have to worry about, I guess you could even use how you may be viewed within society, whether society is modern or not, and you won't have to worry about actually having a child and how that child might be affected by your relationship, as well as being bullied, etc. So that's what I mean about normal as to not normal. So it's not just taking a word and how you comprehend it to be purposed or pushed onto you, acknowledging it that way, but trying to understand from a wholesome view. And once you can do that, then the credibility of your, I guess, knowledge sure can be awarded to you. Because clearly my intentions is not to be insulting or mocking in any way, but it's just to show that I am aware of how life can affect us, not just my darn self, and I'm not just thinking about my own pockets here, but I'm taking others and their well-being, and others' loved ones into consideration, so as to try and keep us well and safe. So if you feel this is good, um, then thanks for your support. I could do with your support. Sorry for the noise in the background, guys. I don't have any pets. I don't have any bikes. I don't have any children at the moment. Um, Again, I can only apologize. I could turn the sound muffler on, but I don't know. I didn't want. Sometimes it plays around with the voice levels, and I don't like the way I kind of blot out. It's like when you talk, it's like it kind of fades out, and then you kind of come back in. There's like a dip, and I can't bother to play with the settings because I don't want to play around with my streaming setup. Um, and so all I can do is apologize to you guys there for now, guys. But I felt it was very important for me to address these issues. This way, none of you can really get back to me later on in the future and say, "Wait, Jay, why didn't you implement this?" or "Jay, why don't you implement this?" Because now we're fully aware. This is something that I do hope to invest majority of my time, if not all of my time, into you guys. Um, yeah, I hope you guys are satisfied with that. Go easy on me as well, guys, because I am new to this. I'm not a media expert. I am not a medical expert. All I do is produce entertainment the best I can, when I can, how I can. And if you like it, awesome. If you don't, in a way, too bad. Um, but I do like share my content with you guys because I'm fascinated with it. You get to see my growth. You get to see how things I like, things I'm interested in, and seeing me grow. I would like to believe would help and inspire you guys to grow if you guys feel this is also something that you're interested in. Taking into consideration as well, guys, that art is a tricky career to get into. But in the modern day and age, it is quite a fascinating one to get into, especially if you do have backup plans, um, because of how venturous the modern day is at the moment. But anyway, guys, it is your boy Patience. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you like what you heard. Leave your likes and those thumbs and those comments down below. And if you have any queries, guys, over and out.
Hollywood, Hollywood, that's your boy Hollywood. He puts it